The Grand Meridian Hotel gleams under the mid-morning sun, its marble lobby echoing with polite chatter and rolling suitcases. Today, behind one of the plain beige housekeeping uniforms, hides Mr. Leonard Dane, the discreet owner, who's heard too many whispers of cruelty from his trusted employees. He pins a faded name tag reading Leo to his chest and drags a cart of fresh linens towards the service elevators. He has resolved to find the truth himself. He sweeps the hallways unseen by managers, observing the forced smiles, the forced politeness, the forced kindness, until a soft cough stops him. Near the revolving door there, under the grand archway, stands Damelaire, the youngest doorman, small for his age, jacket 2 sizes too big, hat perched awkwardly, yet his eyes kind and watchful. He bows with such care for every guest. Leonard watches as an older bell captain named Marcus flicks a cigarette at Damelaire's shoes, calling him street rat in uniform, when a frail elderly woman struggles with her overloaded luggage cart. Ignored by passing staff, Damelaire hurries over without a second thought, grasping the handles, steadying her trembling hands, whispering reassurance as she shuffles through the glass doors. Outside, Marcus mutters, "Let the old hag tip herself, you beggar," but Damelaire doesn't flinch. Instead, he pushes the heavy cart all the way to her taxi, even pays the driver quietly. Leonard's chest tightens. He follows discreetly, keeping to the shadows. That evening, Leonard waits near the back hallway, pretending to scrub scuff marks off the tile. He hears muffled laughter, sees Marcus and 2 senior bellboys shaking a small tip jar. Coins rattle as they pocket the cash, whispering that no peasant doorman deserves extra. When Leonard peeks further, he spots a hidden camera blinking near the supply closet. Not hotel security, but a cheap recording device wired crudely to a battery pack. It points directly at the staff lockers. His pulse races. Suddenly he understands. Guests missing trinkets, missing wallets, missing luggage. It's all linked back to this small corner. While Damelaire works overtime covering these petty thefts with his own tips and sometimes his own meager paycheck. The next morning, Leonard drops a single dirty rag near Marcus's feet. The older man scoffs, steps aside, muttering under his breath. Leonard nods, silent, pretending to bow. Meanwhile, hotel security storms in at his secret signal, hidden earpieces, catching every stammered excuse from Marcus, who's now cornered by the footage. Leonard steps out of his disguise, then in front of the shock staff, lifts his cap, revealing his true face. The housekeepers gasp, the older managers swallow hard. Damelaire, frozen by the door, still clutching the lost and found log. Leonard calls him forward. Damelaire stands shaking, believing he's next for punishment. Instead, Leonard kneels, lifts the battered tip jar from the evidence table, and hands it back, pressing crisp notes into Damelaire's palm, saying, "You kept this place more honest than any camera ever could. From this moment you answer only to me, my new chief guest relations officer." The lobby erupts into awkward applause. Some staff look away ashamed, but the elderly woman from before appears, leaning on her cane. She kisses Damelaire's forehead, whispering, "You reminded me of my grandson the day you carried my cart. You gave me dignity, and so I came to thank the owner myself. You deserve every blessing, young man." Under the grand chandelier, Damelaire cries for the first time in years, while Leonard watches a boy who guarded truth with bare hands now holds the keys to a brighter door. The Grand Meridian remains the same, yet inside its walls kindness has new eyes, new strength, and a new protector who once was just a mock doorman and a faithful friend to every forgotten bag. The applause fades, but the echoes remain buried in the walls of the Grand Meridian as Damelaire tries to steady his trembling hands, the fresh weight of authority heavier than the old worn gloves he once used to polish brass doors. Behind the shimmering reception desk, Leonard sits him down, not in the staff lounge, but in the owner's private suite, a room lined with bookshelves, glass trophies, and a single-frame photo of Leonard's late father, whose smile hides decades of secrets. Leonard speaks softly, each word more bewildering to Damelaire than the last. "You will rebuild what they've corrupted. You will choose who stays, who goes, who trains, who apologizes to every guest, whose purse was lightened. You will decide whose pockets we repay from my own salary." If you wish, Damelaire's mouth parts, but no sound comes, only tears, because he remembers each day he stood in the rain waving taxis for guests who never tipped, but always smiled at his boyish Bow now, he must bow to no one except Truth Leonard's assistant, a slender woman named Clara, enters, with a ledger thick as a family Bible. She whispers about old complaints, unresolved cases, hush payments signed off by Marcus and his crew for years behind Leonard's back. For a heartbeat, rage flickers in Leonard's eyes. He snaps the ledger shut, orders Clara to gather the night staff in the hidden ballroom. After hours they will confess, they will beg, they will choose to stay loyal or walk out under the city's neon lights with their dirty coins tucked in their socks. Damelaire sits silent, observing Clara, who watches him too intently. When Leonard excuses himself to answer a private call, Clara leans closer, voice syrupy yet tinged with warning. You're brave, Damelaire, but brave men disappear here if they don't listen. She slips him a folded note, so quickly it feels like a lie inside, scribbled directions. A room number, a time tonight. Don't trust Leonard, it says, underlined twice before he can question her. Leonard returns, face calm, but eyes suspicious. Clara vanishes like steam through a crack in the door of the staff meeting. That night is chaos. The hidden ballroom, once a place for elite galas, now a confession chamber. 25 employees stand in line, Marcus and 2 cronies nowhere to be found. Leonard plays the stolen footage on a projector, muted images of wallets lifted, watches pocketed, tip jars ransacked. Damelaire stands beside him, trying to read every twitch of shame, every muttered plea for forgiveness. But one man, a wiry night porter named Sam, stares at Damelaire with such hate it stings Damelaire's spine. Sam snarls that he knows the new boy must have told the owner everything, that rats like him get eaten first before Leonard can order him removed. Sam flees, pushing past guards, muttering threats into a burner phone. Later that night, when the ballroom is locked down and the staff dismissed, Leonard hands Damelaire a fresh uniform, deep blue trimmed with gold, not a doorman's cap, but a sleek badge embossed with Guest Relations Director. Where tomorrow start by restoring faith, but trust no one. Yet this place has ghosts of thieves. Some wear suits, some wear smiles. The warning rattles in Damelaire's mind as he returns to the servants' dormitory, hidden at the rear of the hotel. But sleep never finds him. At exactly 1 a.m., he slips from his narrow cot, the note from Clara burning in his pocket. He creeps past the laundry chutes, past the boiler room, past the east wing, where marble floors crack under hidden pipes, leaking secrets. At the end of the hall, room 914A. Door slightly ajar, faint whisper inside. He pushes the door gently. A lamp flickers near Clara, who sits cross-legged on the carpet, her hair loose, eyes rimmed red. Behind her, an old CRT monitor plays grainy black and white footage, not from the lobby cameras, but from the owner's office. Leonard's office. There on screen, Leonard argues with a stranger whose face stays just out of frame. The audio low, but clear enough to chill Damelaire's chest. Leonard saying, we keep this buried or you bury him. Instead, Clara turns, eyes wide. She gestures to sit beside her, says, this hotel has been a vault for money laundering, fake bookings, shell companies. Marcus was just a pawn. Leonard let it fester so the city elite could wash millions through banquet halls. Damelaire gasps. The CRT whines in protest. The screen cuts to static. Clara grips his wrist, whispering, if you want to be the hero, learn who the real villain is. The tap on the door interrupts them, a soft, polite knock that freezes both their spines. A voice calls, gentle yet firm, Damelaire, my boy, I know you're awake. Bring Clara. We need to talk. Leonard's voice through the wood, smooth as oil. Clara mouths don't open at her nails dig crescent moons into his palm. Outside, the hallway shadow dances under the door. A second voice joins, Leonard's lower, raspier, a voice Damelaire recognizes from the footage the stranger who threatened to bury him. A metallic scrape of a key in the lock. Clara leaps up, slams the monitor off, yanks Damelaire into the narrow bathroom, locking them inside. They press against cold tile, hearing the door swing open. Leonard's footsteps calm, measured, then the stranger's voice slithers closer. Check the bathroom, check the boys' pockets. The knob rattles once, twice. A boot slams, the wood cracks behind the wall. Clara points to the ceiling, a dusty air vent, their only escape. She hisses, climb or die. Damelaire's pulse pounds his throat. He lifts her first palms under her shoes. His arms quake with betrayal, confusion, dread. The door bursts inward, splinters fly as Damelaire heaves himself up through the vent. Metal Squeals under his knees below. Leonard's eyes meet his one final moment of silent war before. The stranger's hand reaches up, seizing Damolere's ankle, dragging him back down into the dark, leaving his muffled scream to echo in the shaft, while Clara above vanishes into the ceilings. Shadows the hotel's walls, swallowing another secret as the night clerk at the front desk hums, unaware that before dawn someone will be gone forever. Darkness swallows Damolere before he understands he's falling. The stranger's iron grip yanks him down from the vent, slamming his spine onto the cracked bathroom tiles. The impact rattles his teeth. Clara's shape is gone above, just a faint echo of metal ducts trembling under her. Escaped. Leonard stands framed in the busted doorway, his shadow stretching long over Damolere's chest, his eyes no longer the gentle ocean blue from the lobby, but icy shards that cut through every lie. You thought you were saving this place, boy. Leonard's voice silk hiding steel. You're just a broom boy who swept secrets into the wrong corners. The stranger, a thick-necked brute in a cheap hotel uniform, drags Damolere up by his collar, half-strangled, half-sobbing. Damolere tries to spit out words, but his tongue sticks to his dry mouth. The CRT monitor crackles again behind them, replaying snippets of the argument. Money trails, shell accounts, politicians laughing over champagne. The brute slams his knuckles into the monitor. The glass spits sparks. Darkness floods the room, except for Leonard's cold grin. Outside, thunder cracks. The city groans with midnight rain. Leonard circles Damolere like a lion, inspecting weak prey. You could have been loyal, you could have been my brightest star. Now you're a liability. That word stabs deeper than fists. Liability. He'd given everything, his tips, his sleep, his innocence, to this marble cage, to every guest who smiled but never knew his name. Yet Leonard says liability like it was carved on his birth certificate. The brute shoves him into the hallway, dragging him past faded portraits of founders who built this empire on stolen hours and quiet bribes. Each portrait seems to sneer at him. A low whistle cuts through Damolere's rattling thoughts. Clara's voice from somewhere distant behind a vent, then gone. The brute kicks open a maintenance closet, shoves Damolere inside. Darkness again, but this time alive with rusting mops and chemical stench. The brute clicks a padlock shut, whispering sweet dreams. Hero heavy boots fade away. Silence drips like a leaky faucet. Damolere tastes blood where his lips split during the scuffle, each breath louder than his heartbeat. He gropes for a mop handle, presses an ear to the door. Nothing but the rumble of the storm outside, then faintly above a scuttling in the ceiling. Clara again, or rats, or ghosts in the Grand Meridian. Who knew anymore? Damolere's mind clings to one truth: stay awake, stay awake. Heroes don't suffocate in broom closets, not tonight. He kicks at the hinges, nothing budges. The storm outside moans louder, mocking him, until a tiny creak under the door frame. A beam of cell phone light cuts the blackness. Clara's whisper, urgent: Damolere, I can't break the lock, but listen closely. Behind the bleach drums a vent cover. Unscrew it, crawl, you'll drop into the linen chute, but hold your breath. It's full of old towels. Crawl through, or they'll find you before the night manager clocks. And she slides a coin under the door, a tiny screwdriver taped to its back. She's gone before he can say her name again. He wedges the tool into the rusted screws, knuckles raw when the last bolt drops. The vent mouth yawns open like a throat. He wriggles inside, suffocating in layers of dusty sheets and stray hairpins. His foot slips, once nearly tumbling him 5 floors down, but he catches a rusty pipe, screams into his own arm to muffle the echo. Inch by inch he slithers sideways, cold air stabbing his bruises until the shaft widens. He lands in the laundry chute, throat full of lint. The descent feels endless until a final crash onto wet linen baskets rattles his bones. The laundry bay is empty, thank God. He stumbles to his feet, fights the urge to pass out in a pile of bleach-scented towels. The hallway ahead buzzes with an old vending machine, its flickering light his only friend. He peeks around the corner, sees the brute talking to a new figure, a woman, this time sharp suit, clipboard, false smile. She nods at the brute, points toward the manager's vault. The brute pats a gun hidden in his belt. Damolere's stomach curdles. He realizes it's bigger than stolen wallets tonight. They're going for the safe, all of it, every drop of the hotel's secret slush funds, to vanish before dawn. He steps back into the dark, swallows a sob, tries to remember the old guest service tunnels from when he first cleaned them. In his rookie days, if he can reach the main office before them, he can lock down the entire system. Call the police, blast every camera feed across the lobby screens. But first the tunnels. They run like veins under the marble skeleton of the Meridian built decades ago to smuggle liquor during colonial bans, now repurposed for whispers and backdoor deals. Damelaire presses his ear to the door, hears the brute laugh, hears the click of a lighter. He slips past the vending machine, heart pounding every step of prayer. He finds the old trap door behind the last laundry machine. Rusty hinges scream in protest. He lifts it anyway, drops into darkness. The tunnel breathes mold, cold, and fear, but he crawls on elbows, scraping the concrete each inch toward salvation. A faint hum of electric cables tells him he's near the owner's control room. He claws at the floor, dragging battered legs behind him. Then a soft flicker, a glow ahead through iron bars. The control hub. He peers and sees rows of dusty servers, blinking with secrets. The entire hotel. Heartbeat behind padlocked wire mesh. He checks the latch, laughs softly, because the lock is ancient. The coin screwdriver still in his pocket. Works again, twists the bolt until it rattles free. Inside, monitors show every hallway. The brute pacing the woman, tapping her foot. Leonard in his penthouse, oblivious to his rats scurrying below. Damelaire slides into the chair, fingers trembling over the master keyboard. Every password he ever memorized for lost luggage logs, now a key to the kingdom. He hits record on every camera, dumps the feeds to the lobby televisions next to the breakfast bar, to the elevators, to the ballroom. The brute's voice roars above, catching the flicker of betrayal on every wall. Damelaire hits the intercom mic. All staff guests, this is Damelaire Ajayi, your humble doorman, speaking. Please evacuate to the main lobby immediately. The hotel is compromised. The brute's scream cuts through the feed, but Damelaire locks the door from the inside, punches the silent alarm to the local police. One by one the screens flicker, static, the power grid flickering under sabotage. He tries to reboot. The last screen shows Clara running, cornered by the brute, gun drawn. The control panel sputters, sparks catching on old paper logs, flames licking his sleeves. Damelaire rips his badge off, hurls it into the fire. The door rattles behind him, fists pounding the brute's muffled growl. Boy, you die now. Damelaire seizes the crowbar from the wall, brace himself for when the door gives in. The fire catches the old curtain. His lungs choke on smoke, but before the brute can break through a hidden floor panel under Damelaire's boots, crack splinters opens like the mouth of a well. He falls backward, gasping, flames above, darkness below, only the echo of his scream fading into the Meridian's buried bones as the brute's roar shakes the burning walls, and Clara's voice somewhere far shouts his name, lost to the swallowing dark. Darkness swallows Damelaire whole. The air turns thick, damp, ancient as he tumbles through the crumbling floor panel. Every heartbeat feels stolen, every thought scatters like coins on marble. He lands hard against cold earth. Pain blooms down his spine, but adrenaline smothers the scream that claws at his throat. Above, flames roar, muffled by layers of forgotten brick and tile. Above, the brute's furious curses thunder through the burning control room, but down here it's grave silent. Only the drip, drip, drip of hidden pipes leaking secrets into the hotel's deepest belly. Damelaire coughs, his chest rattling with soot. He presses a trembling palm to the dirt beneath him, feeling old stone, a strange warmth, a hum almost electric. He squints through the murk, realizes he's sprawled in a cavernous chamber. Old utility tunnels crisscrossing like veins of forgotten underbelly of the Grand Meridian, built long before guests strolled its marble corridor. Shadows press close and every sound echoes twice. Fear flickers, but purpose burns brighter. He staggers to his feet, gripping the crowbar, still slick with his sweat and soot. Somewhere above, Clara might be fighting alone. The brute might be hunting her, or worse, hunting every innocent maid bellhop. Concierge caught in this midnight betrayal. He limps toward the faint hum, tracing it through twisting tunnels, each step more certain. This maze was designed to hide more than pipes. Old ledgers, old bribes, old sins of men in tuxedos who toasted under chandeliers, while rats like him polished brass doorknobs with bare hands. The tunnel splits ahead, one side dips deeper, flooded ankle high with rank water. The other winds toward a flicker of dying light. He picks the light, feeling every bruise, every cut reminding him why he can't stop, until this marble tomb coughs up the truth ahead. The light flickers from an old fuse box, wired to a cluster of security monitor screens. Half-dead lines crawling across them, but one screen holds steady Clara, her face pale, sweat streaking her cheek pressed against a marble pillar. She's crouched in the main ballroom, her eyes darting for exits, her lips mouthing silent prayers. Near her, the brute stalks back and forth, dragging a battered pipe behind him, letting it clatter against marble to announce his hunt. Damelaire grips the crowbar tighter, the cold metal grounding him. A single plan pulses behind his ribs. He must reach her, must end this, not just for them, but for every staff, boy, girl, old maid who ever swept secrets under this hotel's gold carpets. He pulls the circuit breakers. One by one, lights flicker, die overhead, shadows reclaim the tunnels. He slides the crowbar into a rusted maintenance door, heaves with every shred of fury, muscle, betrayal, until it squeals open. A ladder climbs up through a brick shaft barely wide enough for his shoulders. He drags himself up, rung by rung. Breath ragged, the echo of the brute's mocking whistle growing louder. The shaft spits him out behind a grand organ in the forgotten corner of the ballroom. He peeks through the carved wood, sees Clara pinned behind a velvet rope. Her eyes lock with his hope flickers, but so does dread. Damelaire mouths stay low. He crawls through shadows, heart drumming louder than the brute's pipe scraping stone. At the far end of the hall, the brute bellows, a songless hum voice slurred with rage. Damelaire edges closer behind a pillar 4 feet from Clara. She sees him, grips a silver wine bucket like a last prayer. Damelaire signals 3 fingers. She nods. He grips the crowbar tighter. His breath freezes as the brute's boots stop inches from Clara's hiding spot. The brute sniffs the air, chuckles, muttering, rat and traitor together come out pretty mouths, or I smash your knees. The brute lunges for Clara, but she swings the bucket hard. Metal crashes his skull. He howls, staggers. Damelaire bursts from cover, slams the crowbar into the brute's ribs. Bone cracks. They crash into a crystal buffet. Glass explodes around them. The brute swings his pipe, catching Damelaire's arm. White pain erupts. He fights through it, drives the crowbar into the brute's knee. They grapple in broken glass, blood and sweat turning the marble slick. The brute's pipe slips. Clara kicks it away. She grabs Damelaire's free hand, pulls him up. Both stumble backward. The brute tries to rise, leg buckling beneath him, his eyes burning red. The grand chandelier overhead sways above them, tremors from their fight, rocking the old ceiling beams. Clara meets Damelaire's eyes. Both know what must break for them to live. Damelaire nods, drops the crowbar, seizes the brute's collar, drags him under the chandelier. The brute howls, claws at him, but Clara kicks his wounded knee again. Damelaire leaps clear, grabs the fallen pipe, hurls it at the chandelier chain. Sparks rain down, a metallic groan. Then, with a roar of centuries-old crystal, the chandelier snaps, plummeting onto the brute, crushing marble bones. Rage into silence. Dust swallows the ballroom. In a shimmering veil, Clara coughs, laughs, coughs again, drags Damelaire from the debris. Your arm, she whispers, her shaking fingers brushing blood from his sleeve. He laughs, despite the agony. Still here, right? Clara nods, squeezes his hand together. They stagger toward the staff exit. But Damelaire freezes just before the door. His eyes catch a flicker on the ballroom wall. One final working monitor tucked behind the wine bar. It shows Leonard calm as midnight rain in his penthouse office, packing a slim briefcase, stacks of cash glinting like sin behind him. Beside him, a tall stranger, hooded face hidden but familiar in posture from the stolen footage. Leonard raises a glass to the camera, almost mocking Damelaire's battered reflection. Clara's breath catches. She grips his shirt. We end him now, right? Damelaire shakes his head, feeling the tremor of exhaustion. Battle with a rising flame of defiance. We end it for everyone, not just him. She pulls him closer, voice fierce. Then you lead. I follow. The monitor flickers, showing Leonard's mouth moving, silent yet clear enough on his lips. Goodbye, my boy. The feed cuts to black, leaving only the rumble of distant sirens, the hiss of sprinklers fighting fire above, and the taste of unfinished war. Damelaire grips Clara's hand tighter, presses his forehead to hers, and whispers, ready, as she nods. A shadow moves behind them, unnoticed for now. 2 cold eyes watching from the staff corridor. A soft metallic click, the same kind of click that comes just before thunder or a gunshot. The marble Floor trembles under their feet, the last light flickers, then dies, plunging the ballroom and the truth into one final breathless dark. Darkness folds around Damelaire and Clara like a last warning. The echo of that metallic click gnaws at the edges of their courage. Somewhere behind them, the hush of leather shoes on marble floor, a quiet breath from a mouth too calm for this chaos. Damelaire's grip on Clara's hand tightens. They don't run, they don't dare, they turn as one. And there stands Leonard, not the Leonard from polite press conferences or framed photos, but the real man, stripped of smiles. His tailored suit ash-dusted, his shirt open at the throat, revealing a glint of a shoulder holster snug against his ribs. In his right hand the pistol dangles casual as a wine glass. His eyes dance from Clara to Damelaire, then back again, the warmth long dead. You were always good with carts, weren't you, boy, pushing other people's burdens? He steps closer, each word soft but sharp, enough to peel skin from bone. Clara presses closer to Damelaire, whispering, stay behind me, stay behind me. He almost laughs, but his lungs quake with too much smoke, too much betrayal. Leonard's voice drops to a rasp. This hotel was perfect, a machine that ate and turned it into marble pillars and pretty fountains. You and your pity ruined that, my father's house. He gestures wide around them, cracked chandeliers, shattered buffet tables, ash and glass, a graveyard for his illusions. And now what's left? Leonard lifts the gun, leveling the barrel between Damelaire's eyes. But his hand trembles, maybe with hate, maybe with guilt. No matter, Damelaire thinks no more. Running his throat raw, he says, your father would spit on you, Leonard. His father built these halls. Yes, but he also died with regret for every boy made to polish brass doorknobs until their childhood vanished. Leonard flinches, fury twisting his jaw. Clara moves so fast a heartbeat skips. She lunges, gripping the barrel, shoving it upward. A deafening crack, the bullet shatters the ballroom mirror, raining silver slivers. Damelaire grabs Leonard's wrist, wrenches it down. Another shot into the marble floor. His ears ring, but he doesn't stop. He remembers every night he gave this hotel more than it deserved. He remembers an old woman's cart pushed through a storm. He remembers being mocked, beaten, locked away. Still he rose. Now he pins Leonard's arm, twists until the old man screams. The pistol clatters free. Clara kicks it far across the tiles. Leonard gasps, you know nothing, boy. You think you're free. Damelaire's breath is fire, his voice the only calm thing. I'm not free, but tonight you answer to me. He releases Leonard just long enough to shove him backward into the marble column. Leonard collapses, wheezing, a defeated king without a crown. Clara helps Damelaire stand. The world tilts, but her arm keeps him upright. Distant sirens swell. Louder blue lights flicker through smoke drifting in from burning halls. The city outside is waking to their truth, to their ruin, to their new beginning. Footsteps thunder near the entrance. Hotel security. Real officers this time, not rats in uniforms. Damelaire and Clara stand side by side, hands still locked. Leonard tries to crawl away, but 4 officers pin him down, cuff him before he can whisper more. Poison. An ambulance crew rushes in, pulling Damelaire toward a stretcher, but he stops one last time in the lobby. His eyes sweep the marble floor, the shattered chandeliers, the trembling maids and bellboys peeking from corners, afraid yet unshackled. At last he lifts a hand, his voice hoarse but unwavering. The Grand Meridian is yours now, yours to rebuild with honesty, yours to guard with your hearts. No more kings, no more slaves, just us. One by one the staff step out from the shadows, heads bowed, not in fear but in promise. The old doorman, the same who once taught him how to tie his uniform, hat clasps Damelaire's shoulder, proud, tears shining under the lobby's broken lights. Clara squeezes his palm. Don't look back, she whispers, and he does not. When the paramedics ease him onto the stretcher, not when the city's dawn brushes pink across cracked marble, not when the doors swing wide, spilling him into a world that suddenly feels wide enough for his dreams. They wheel him away past curious crowds, reporters, flashbulbs, stunned guests peering through shattered glass, and behind it all the Grand Meridian stands broken yet honest for the first time in decades. As the stretcher lifts into the ambulance, Damelaire's eyes flutter heavy with sleep, a single thought pulsing steady in his battered chest. Tomorrow I push no one's cart, tomorrow I build my own doors. His eyes close, the sirens wail, and far behind him in the ruin of that marble empire, Clara watches the sunrise, daring to dream alongside him. The story of the boy who once pushed an old woman's cart, ending not in marble halls, but in freedom. Earned breath by breath, fight by fight, truth by truth. And in the city's heartbeat a whisper begins, if he could rise, maybe we all can too. Hey, if you felt every twist in this story, you're exactly where you need to be. Hit that subscribe button right now. And don't forget the notification bell, because the secrets we're about to expose will shock you even more. Join this family, stay curious, and together we'll uncover every hidden truth. See you in the next one.